Alright guys, in the previous module we learned how to animate pictures in Moho. In this tutorial, in this module, we're going to be learning how to download pictures from the internet and animate them. Alright, so in this module, I'm going to be showing you different places where you can get copyright-free images that you can use in your animation. Right, the purpose of this is to reduce the stress of having to create everything by yourself, although it's very much advisable for you to create your own characters and backgrounds. But for a start, and then or maybe probably when you start working on very much large and complex projects, you might need to have to download some assets and use them in your animation. So first, let's hop into our web browser. The first site we're going to be looking at is Google. So once you get to Google, you could come to your upper right corner and click images. Then from images, you could type cartoon character. Let's fix in PNG. All right, so you could see quite a lot of images that you can use for your peradventure you have a story you're telling. You could download any of these images and use them. Okay, so I'm going to just pick one of them. Let's say we're working with this lady. Right, so first of all, how you know that an image is transparent is by the checkbox on the previewed image, not on the thumbnails. You can see some of these, they have thumbnails, right? You can see some of these thumbnails, they have a checkbox around them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are transparent. Right, so what you have to check is the ones that have a white background, like this one. If I click it, after the preview here, if there's a checkbox around it, then you know it's a transparent image. So I could right click this and say save image, and then we'll save it here. All right, so let me check out another one. This one, as you can see, this one is not transparent. This one is not transparent, but however, let's still download it. Then I'll show you guys where you can remove backgrounds from an image. You can see this is a JPEG image, right? So next place that you can download pictures from. Let me mention this before we proceed. Ensure that any picture that you are working with, that you have rights to use them for, you have the license to use them for commercial projects. Peradventure, you are working for a client, you can't download images from Google Image without permissions, and then you are using it for a client. You could get into trouble for doing that. So make sure you have the right. Most of the images here have, Google will say image may be subject to copyright. So you might not have right to download images here and use them. However, there is a way to find out images that are copyright free. We could come to tools and say usage rights, and now say Creative Common license. Creative Common license. That means images that are free to use. So right now, you see they filtered it out for Creative Common license. Okay, so you could download any of this and use it. Still, it's not still advisable. The best thing you can do is to either download your own images or go to a paid website and buy images that you want to use. However, any of these can be used for your personal projects. You can download them and use them for your personal project, for your learning processes. Okay, so next thing I want to show us is the another website where you can download um, um, images that you can use. Here, let's just say backgrounds. Let's say background. So you need a background for your project. You could see a lot of backgrounds here that you can use. You could come and say vector if what you're working on is an animation. So you could see vectorized background. Let's say we are looking for a living room. So you could see living rooms, vector based living rooms. For example, we want to work with this. All right, so you could see we also have license issue here. So these images, you could download them and use them for your own personal projects, but you cannot use them for commercial purposes. Except here for free pick, they give you um, the option to attribute this image. If you want to use it for a commercial, maybe something you want to post on YouTube or you want to use for a client, you must attribute the creator of this image. Here is up clear that designed this image. So at maybe at the end of your animation project, towards the end where you um, list out the credits, you must mention that the background, this particular background was downloaded from this website. All right. However, if you're using it for a personal project, you don't necessarily have to do all those things. All right, guys. So first, you have to download it for free. Once I click download here, you could see free download attribution is required for you to download it. Or you could simply just sign up for this website. I think it's about 15 euros that they charge per month, about 15 euro. You could sign up and then download the images and use them for whatever you want to use them for. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and download this image. All right, so I have it downloaded. Okay, right. So let's look at the things we've downloaded so far. We've downloaded the first image here, then the second image here. So for the first image, to remove a background from an image, what you have to do is to come to Google and say remove background. Or you could just say remove BG. Alright, so the first website we have here is remove BG. Alright, so the next thing that you have to do is to come here and upload your image. Then I'm going to go ahead and select the image that I just downloaded and then wait for the. Alright, you can see now it now has this checkbox around it. You can now say download image. Alright, so if we should check, we could see that we have our image with our background downloaded. Alright, so once we have it downloaded, the next thing we can do is to go ahead and start animating it in Moho. So from my Moho, I could come in and say import, general import. Then we could go back and we have our image without a background ready for you to start using for whatever you want it to use it for. Okay. And then we had a background that we downloaded. Here's the background. Usually once a background is downloaded, it's usually zipped. So you could right click, say view all, and say extract all. Okay. All right. So right now you can see we have our image, our background extracted. So I could come ahead, come to Moho, and then I'll import the image that I just downloaded. All right, you can see we have it. Then we can zoom this out. Then we already have a background. So I'm going to drag the character to the front. You can see we have something that we can use to tell a story, depending on the story you want to tell. Okay. One thing that is worthy of mentioning is when you come to free pick and you um, want to download any asset, ensure that you are not using it for commercial purposes. If you're downloading the free ones that requires attribution, make sure you're not using them for commercial purposes. And if you're using it for commercial purposes, make sure you do proper attribution. Or to save you the whole stress, just have your monthly subscription so you could have access to all as much assets as you want as possible. That's the first thing. The second thing is once you select an image and you want to download it, ensure you look at the file type. Okay, under file type we have AI. AI is an Illustrator file. EPS is also a kind of vector file, and then JPEG. Make sure that there is a JPEG included, because if you don't have a JPEG included, that means you might need to have installed Adobe Illustrator or EPS in order to be able to extract the asset you downloaded. Okay, some of them might not necessarily need have um, Adobe Illustrator file. For example, let's say we are going for a cartoon character, right? So let's assume that we want to just pick this one. Okay, right here you can see we have EPS and then we have JPEG. Make sure you have EPS and then you have JPEG, because JPEG is the file format that's Moho that you can import into Moho. If you're working with EPS, then you might have to um, then you need to have imported it in Moho and in Illustrator before you can now convert it to JPEG and then import it into Moho. Alright guys, so that will be all for this class. In the next class, we'll be getting into more interesting things. See you then.